Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this third Railbookers webinar. Today we're really excited to show you 6 of our most popular scenic rail journeys for 2017. We've got a really great turnout today, so pleased so many of you could tune in, and we're excited to get started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sarah Turner. Everybody stay tuned. We're going to have exclusive attendees today. And as well, one lucky person to win a £50 Railbookers gift voucher to use on their next rail holiday with us. You'll see as well, guys, at the bottom of your screen, there's our phone number. It's 0203 327 0749. You just make a note of that. Got a pen and paper handy. You can give us a call anytime after the presentation. Get your holidays. Start preparing your guys' holidays for you. Okay. So just bear with me a second. I'd like to take just a few minutes of your time to talk about Railbookers and why our customers keep on booking with us. Firstly, of course, we're the rail experts. We have a really great team here of self-confessed train geeks. They've got extensive knowledge of the best routes, the best timings, and all the rail systems that we work with throughout the world. And they really do love talking to you guys about your holidays. So anytime you fancy a train chat, just give us a ring and we'll put something together. As well, we've got insider access. We have direct partnerships with the rail companies, the hotels that we work with across Europe, North America and beyond. We have access to special rates that just aren't available to the public. With flexibility, with us you can book your trip at any time, even if the tickets aren't on sale to the public yet. We can tailor-make our holidays, make tweaks so it's exactly perfect for you. And it's worth mentioning as well, these are all independent journeys. You can go any day you like. There'll be multiple trains on each and every day, and they're not escorted. So if you want to, make dinner and drinks in Venice, last all night, and not have to worry about getting up the next morning, that's absolutely fine. It's your holiday. And we're going to make this booking process for all of you guys completely hassle-free. We know that it can be complicated, different routes, trains, languages, but we'll step in. We're going to professionally plan all of your holidays by rail for you, send you everything, so all you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy your trip. We like to mention as well that we are an award-winning operator. We've got several industry awards under our belts, really recognising the commitment that we're making to providing you guys with flawless holiday experiences. And who are we? Well, obviously we're Railbookers. We organise independent rail journeys across Europe, you can see there, across the United States, Canada as well. Beyond those, but those are really our customers' 3 favourite regions. As I've said, independent rail journeys, but we also can organise city breaks by train, luxury private train journeys, things like the Venice Sample and Orient Express, the Rocky Mountaineer. We have a great portfolio of rail and sail holidays. If you're a bit of a cruise fanatic as well, you want to combine a luxury cruise with your train journey, and we also have themed holidays. Our top destinations, you can see there, we've got Scandinavia, Italy, which I know that my colleague Matt will be talking to you guys about today, the USA and Canada, Switzerland as well, and great scenic journeys there, and Spain and Portugal, and really popular at the moment, and a nice one for your summer holidays next year. Top itineraries, as we've mentioned before, the Venice Sample and Orient Express, a lovely picture there, Scandinavian Grand Tour, Essential Andalusia down in southern Spain, the Italian lakes, it's got Lake Como, Lake Garda, Lake Maggiore, all really easy to get to by rail. The Polish Explorer, it's a nice multi-centre break. We're full of history and culture, some real hidden gems, and Canada coast to coast, real epic bucket list experience. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Matt now, but if you've got any questions at all, please just ask us via the box that you'll see probably on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll be happy to provide you with answers. We'll get around to hopefully answering most of your questions at the end of the webinar. If we don't get around to yours, don't worry, we'll be in touch with a response. We won't leave any of you hanging with your rail questions. So let me pass over to Matt. He's the head of customer delivery here at Railbookers. He's been here for 11 years, so he really does know his stuff. And he's the train geekiest of all of us, so he'll definitely be able to give you a great insight into some of these journeys. Matt, take it away.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for that great introduction. It's really great to be here to be speaking to all of you at the webinar today. And I'm looking forward to be able to introduce you to some of our most popular scenic rail journeys. Of course, there's an abundance of those. What we're going to really look at is our most popular packages with a focus on Switzerland, Austria and Italy, as Sarah mentioned before. The first journey that I'd like to look at today is one of my favorites. It's the classic Glacier and Bernina Express holiday. As you can see by the little map on your screen here, this is a 5-day holiday. It starts in London. Of course, we can use the other Eurostar stations at Ebbsfleet and Ashford International also. And then heading via Paris and high-speed TGV Lyria over into Switzerland, spending 2 nights in Interlaken, and then the really scenic parts, a journey on the world-famous Glacier Express over to Chur, the oldest town in Switzerland, and then a return excursion on the equally well-renowned Bernina Express, and that's before returning through to London by rail. So after arriving in Switzerland, Interlaken is your base, and just have a look at those 2 pictures. It really is a fantastic place to base yourselves. It's really picturesque, as I hope you can see here. Just look at those great alpine surroundings, lots of greenery. It nestles in between Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, as you can see in the picture there as well. So really, really nice part of the world. There's also some of my favorites, some great alpine villages and ski resorts like Grindelwald and Lauterbrunnen. Just a short train journey away from Interlaken, about 20 minutes or so, and perfect for anyone who likes walking or hiking or just taking in the scenery in the open air. On the next slide, you can see the Glacier Express. Europe, perhaps even the world's slowest express train. In fact, express probably isn't really the right word for this one. The average speed is about 24 miles an hour. So the focus really is on the landscape, is on the scenery. It's not about getting from A to B as quickly as possible. It's just about having a fantastic scenic train journey. If you did the entire Glacier Express route from Zermatt in southwest Switzerland through to St. Moritz, you'd be looking at a 7.5-hour journey to cover the entire 180 miles. And in fact, the Glacier Express is the only direct train that runs on this route. So not only is it really, really scenic, but there's no other way of actually doing this route without several changes. So you can't drive along it either, so it really is the only way of taking in this scenery. You can see in the picture on the left, if you have a look, the great panoramic windows that go right up to the roof. So every single seat on the train, you're guaranteed to have a great view. It's designed to maximize the scenery and really make the journey part of the entire holiday for you. What do you see on that journey? Well, it really is a changing landscape. You see everything from mountain forests to alpine meadows, mountain peaks, rushing mountain streams and rivers, gorges. And if you did the entire journey, you cross through 91 tunnels and over 291 bridges. So it really is an epic journey full of changing scenery. On this train as well, you can actually order meal and drinks served at your seat. There's normally a set menu and an a la carte menu as well. And you can have a range of alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks too.
What did you eat on the train, Matt? Because the food is supposed to be really good on the Glacier Express. I've not done it myself.
Good question. I think it was chicken that I had when I was on the Glacier Express. And also they do actually have, I remember they've got their own Glacier Express wine and Glacier Express beer as well. So it really is a nice experience to have your meal, relax, and just enjoy that fantastic scenery passing by. After arriving in Chur, the other one of these 2 iconic journeys is the Bernina Express. And this one is different, but it's just as good in different ways, really. We do it as on this package as a day excursion, so it's travel from Chur to Tirano, which is on the border between Italy and Switzerland, and back again. And it's on narrow gauge railway. In fact, the entire route is UNESCO World Heritage listed. This one, you cross over 196 bridges as part of the journey. And again, you can see those great panoramic windows here. It's a fantastic journey once again. Also a great way perhaps even to head into Italy too. It's ideal all year round. You can see the two pictures here, ladies and gentlemen. On the right hand side, you can see a great winter shot. You've got the real winter wonderland experience out of the windows there. Lots of ice and snow-capped peaks. And on the left-hand side, you can see perhaps spring or summer, some great meadows basking in the sunshine there. So it really is a great trip all year round. Some of the highlights of this particular journey are the famous Landwasser Viaduct, which you cross over shortly after leaving Chur, before you arrive at Pontresina. And then also, towards the end of the journey before arrival in Tirano, the train crosses over the Bruzio Spiral, which is a great viaduct where, again, you've got some fantastic views, and it's a great way of finishing up the journey before arrival in Tirano too. In fact, you can just see the start of it, I think, there on the next slide. So just as a recap, what's included in this particular holiday? Well, we've got 4 nights hotel accommodation with breakfast. That's 2 in Interlaken and 2 in Chur. Return Eurostar and onward travel, as well as a 4-day Swiss pass, which includes reservations on those 2 scenic trains we've just looked at. That's in standard class travel, but of course if you'd like to upgrade any of those journeys, perhaps on those 2 scenic journeys that we've spoken about, or maybe if it's a special occasion and you'd like a little bit more leg room and extra space, then we can arrange upgrades on any or all of those journeys also. The next holiday I'd like to look at is slightly similar to this one in a way, but it's a different combination. It's combining the Glacier Express routing, which we've already spoken about, with the Jungfrau Bahn, which is the highest railway in Europe. So this one is 5 nights. As you can again hopefully see from the map here, the journey begins from the UK, of course, in London, and then heading over to Switzerland via Paris. Again, high-speed TGV travel through into Switzerland before 2 nights in Interlaken. Then we'll have the day trip on the Jungfrau, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a moment, and then the Glacier Express journey once again, this time all the way through to St. Moritz. After that, it's time to head back to Zurich for a flight back to the UK. But of course, if you prefer to do that journey by rail, and who knows, maybe stop off at Paris on the way back, of course that's fine too. So the Jungfrau is something that wasn't included on the previous holiday, and this is the highest train station in Europe, the Jungfrau Joch. It's 3,454 meters above sea level, and it's a really fantastic journey, one that I'm lucky enough to have done myself. It's a number of cogwheel trains up from, starting from Interlaken, and then ascending, crossing through the Eiger Glacier. In fact, you actually stop midway as the train goes through the heart of the glacier. There's some observation ports carved out into the rocks. You can actually look out through the mountain, and then the train slowly progresses upwards, and you emerge right at the top. There's a viewing platform area where you have fantastic views, great scenery. If it's a nice clear day, you can see as far as the Black Forest in Germany. You can see into France. You've also got Interlaken nestling far below you with those 2 lakes either side. It really is a fantastic experience. And there's also, as well as the great photos you can get from the top, there's a little area where you can stand up and have your picture taken next to the top of Europe, just to show that you made it all the way. And it really is a bucket list trip. It's a fantastic one to do. After Interlaken and the Jungfrau Joch, we've got the travel through to St. Moritz. Again, this is on the famous Glacier Express. As you can see again, just look at those panoramic windows, just showing what a fantastic view you get from whatever seat you're in on the train. And this time, rather than heading through to Chur, we're going all the way through to St. Moritz, famous for its ski scene, of course, champagne climate. Again, this journey through to St. Moritz would include the famous Landwasser Viaduct also. So just a quick recap on what's included in this particular holiday, this journey. Again, we've got the 4 nights hotel accommodation, 2 in Interlaken and 2 in St. Moritz. And we've got standard class Eurostar and onward train travel, 4-day Swiss pass with seat reservations on the Glacier Express, and also the excursion up to the Jungfrau. After that, travel back to Zurich to fly back to London. And just as I said for the previous holiday, if you fancy traveling back to London via rail rather than air, that's completely fine. We can customize the trip to suit you. So you might want to do the whole journey by rail. You might want to stop off in Paris or maybe explore a little bit more of Switzerland. All of that can be arranged for you, as can any first-class upgrades for any of the journey that you might be interested in. Again, if you talk to any of the travel centre team here, they'd be happy to tell you about the first-class options if that's of interest, or also how you can travel back to the UK by rail, should you like to do that too. So if those Swiss journeys have tickled your fancy, then this one really is the catch-all holiday. It's one of my favourites because it includes all three of those fantastic journeys we've already looked at, as well as one that we haven't looked at just yet. And this one we call Switzerland's Lakes and Mountains, and it pretty much does exactly what it says on the tin, because you see a lot of lakes and mountains throughout the trip. It starts off, as you can see, with a flight into Geneva from the UK, which is where we begin the rail journey. On arrival in Geneva, it's a short train journey around Lake Geneva to spend the night in Montreux, and after that we travel via the Golden Pass line, which we'll look at in a moment, through to Interlaken. From there, with a couple of nights in Interlaken, we've got the day trip up the Jungfrau, which we looked at just a moment ago, the iconic Glacier Express journey through to Chur, the oldest town in Switzerland, and then that Bernina Express excursion to Tirano. And that's all before heading back to Zurich to fly back to the UK. So Montreux, that's where you would begin this wonderful scenic rail holiday. And just look at that image on the left-hand side. That's taken in Montreux. That's the shores of Lake Geneva there. You can see the mountains in the background. What a fantastic backdrop. Really relaxing, wonderful place to start the holiday. On the right-hand side, this is one of the Golden Pass trains. And in fact, there's two trains that run on this particular route. One like the one you see in the picture, which again has got those fantastic panoramic windows, which gives you an excellent view. And in fact, a couple of those have some special VIP seats right at the front of the train where the driver would normally sit. So you can see right along the front of the tracks, see the views just spreading out in front of you. And if you're that way inclined, you can maybe pretend you're driving the train as well. Who knows? You definitely did that, didn't you, Matt? I couldn't possibly comment on that one. Alternatively, there's also the classic Golden Pass train. This one's a bit more of a Pullman style, a little bit similar to the British Pullman with the Orient Express journeys in the UK. Perhaps not quite as luxurious, but very similar, and really harking back to the golden days of train travel. So two different experiences and some fantastic scenery, lots of lakes, particularly in this one, and some undulating landscapes as well. It's a really, really enjoyable trip. Then, of course, we've got the Jungfrau Bahn, which we spoke about before. Again, the nice thing about this one is that there's time to break the journey as well and explore some of the alpine villages above Interlaken if you want to en route. If not, just head straight to the top and spend as much time as you want at the top of Europe and take as many pictures as you want. There's a small ice cafe there as well at the top where you can get drinks and snacks and just have a relax until you're time to head back down to earth, I suppose, literally. So just again a recap of what's included in this particular holiday. So again, this is based on air travel to and from Switzerland. We do find though that lots of our customers, as I say, we get lots of feedback with people asking, can they do this journey by rail all the way from the UK, maybe stop in Paris on the way to break the travel up? Of course we can. That's the beauty of rail travel, like Sarah was saying before, that it is flexible to that extent. You can break the journey and customize it as you like. So we've got the 5 nights hotel accommodation, Swiss Rail Pass with all of the reservations on the Golden Pass, Glacier Express and Bernina Express, and also that day trip on the Jungfrau Bahn as well. Now time for something slightly different, with a longer holiday this time, Venice and Munich via the Alps. So this one's 8 days, and I think heading through to Italy, a great way obviously to approach Italy is by rail, and these are two really fantastic scenic ways of approaching Italy. So this one we've got travel to Venice. That's via rail from London, changing trains in Paris and spending some time in Zurich, and then a real fantastic journey with great scenery that perhaps isn't as well known as some of those famous journeys that we've just been looking at a moment ago. This is travel on the Gotthard Pass route from Zurich across through into Italy. Great alpine scenery, lots and lots of mountains, snow a lot of the year round before heading to Milan and then onwards through to Venice. And after spending a couple of nights in Venice, equally good really is train travel through the Brenner Pass. That's going through the Alps through to Austria, through Innsbruck, and then heading through into Munich for a couple of nights in Germany before heading back to the UK. I don't think the next pictures really need much introduction, do they? I mean, Venice speaks for itself. A real bucket list destination, just so iconic. You just look at the canals and the gondolas. It couldn't be anywhere else on the planet, really. Famous for its architecture, its history, its setting. So much culture, so much history, so much to explore, so many great little back streets as well. And great
Prosecco on tap as well.
Prosecco on tap, absolutely. Alfresco dining when the weather's warmer in the spring and summer. It's a real fantastic destination, and whether it's a bucket list destination that perhaps you haven't been to before, or even somewhere that you have visited, because the great thing is you can always go back. There's more to see, there's more to discover, and it's just that wonderful setting as you approach. In fact, when you arrive at Venice by train, if you step out of the train station at Santa Lucia, you see the beginnings of the Grand Canal right in front of you. So it really is, you really know you've arrived. It really is something quite special. After leaving Venice, again, as I mentioned, we head over the Brenner Pass route through Innsbruck. Lots of mountains, lots of small churches and houses nestling in the cliff tops and in the hilltops there. Great mountain scenery, and that heads directly up to Munich, which is, again, another lovely destination if anyone hasn't been to Munich before and is perhaps one you've been thinking about visiting. So much history and culture, lots of great buildings, and great walking tours and other sightseeing options that we can arrange for you too. We've also got attractions like the Neuschwanstein Castle, which is actually in the countryside, just a short distance outside of Munich, which we can arrange sightseeing tours as well, which is really picturesque, a real fairy tale castle and nice one to visit. After a tough day's sightseeing, of course, there's the famous Hofbrauhaus, the beer hall in Munich as well, where there's plenty of opportunity to have a nice time, Bavarian style, with the steins of beer and the umpire bands playing. So a nice way to relax after a hard day's sightseeing.
Good food as well, if you're feeling a bit versed for wear.
Well, I definitely wasn't versed for wear when I was there, but it was a great experience, and it really does combine really well with the great architecture and history that you feel walking around Munich. So, just to recap what's included in the Venice and Munich holiday that we've just talked about, we've got 7 nights hotel accommodation. In fact, you can see here a great picture. This is from the Gotthard Pass. You can see that's some of the scenery that the train passes by. You know, the mountains, the lakes, it really is fantastic. And you've got the Brenner Pass as well, heading up to Munich, which is just as good. And all of the Eurostar and onward rail travel. And again, we can look at any upgrades or extensions that you might like to have a look at as well. Sticking to the theme of mountain passes, the next holiday that we'd like to look at with some spectacular scenery is our Arlberg Pass holiday. And this one starts with a flight into Zurich over in Switzerland there for a night's accommodation, and then heading through the Swiss and Austrian Alps on a great train journey through to Innsbruck. And this one goes over the Arlberg Pass, which is just as nice as the other ones that we've mentioned. For any lovers of alpine scenery, this one really is recommended. And after a night in Innsbruck, you continue on your way by rail through to the capital, Vienna, for 2 nights before flying home. And once again, as I've mentioned before, can you do the journey by rail instead of air? Of course you can. It's no problem at all. So here is Zurich, and again some great images of the old town. Just picture yourself after having arrived at the end of your flight or rail journey, ready to start your relaxing holiday. There's lots of great places to eat nestled around the old town, lots of traditional Swiss cuisine. You can see the wonderful historic buildings nestling by the River Limmat. It's a great setting, really relaxing, nice place to wander around, and in the summer and springtime as well, there's lots of outside seating areas for the restaurants. You can have a nice meal by the river. It really is a great setting. After heading through over the Arlberg Pass to Innsbruck, well, you can see actually the mountains in the background, sort of nestling around Innsbruck. It's the capital of the Tyrol region. Really great picturesque setting surrounded by those great alpine shots that you can see. Some great history, great architecture. We've got the Imperial Palace, the Golden Roof. There's lots of great buildings, and Jakob's Cathedral as well. Perfect for anyone who likes history, likes culture, or even just likes a relaxing wander and some shopping perhaps, some great culinary experiences in a beautiful setting. It's very, very walkable destination. It's not particularly large, so it really is a very easy one to explore. And what better setting can you do it in? And then finally for this one, we finish up with 2 nights in Vienna, the capital of Austria, of course, famous for so many things, for architecture, for music. We've got the opera, of course, at Vienna, the Vienna Staatsoper. There's Mozart, Beethoven, and Schubert. They all lived in Vienna at one time or another, so there's often operas or musical events going on there for anyone who's keen on that sort of thing. We've also got the Spanish riding school, the oldest riding school in the world, which is well worth a visit. And as you can see from the picture here, you could go on horse and cart rides around the city centre in the inner ring, right in the heart of Vienna. And of course, there's one must-do, I think, for everybody, particularly anybody who likes cake, and that's to have some Sachertorte. It's one of the maybe the most famous cakes in the world, and no trip to Vienna is complete without having a slice. It might not be that good for you, but it's really tasty, so I can heartily recommend it.
What's in it? What is Sachertorte?
It's a delicious cake. It's very chocolatey. I don't really think I can actually do it justice. You just got to go and taste some.
Take your word for it.
It is completely wonderful. This is just a shot of the Arlberg Pass, and where the train passes over, you can see the mountains either side as you're heading between Switzerland and Austria. Just a reminder of what's included in this holiday. So we've got flights from London into Switzerland and out of Vienna, 4 nights hotel accommodation, and all of your rail travel and reservations in between. Again, can we look at upgrades? Yes, we can. Can you travel by rail instead of air? Of course you can do that. And if you'd like to stop anywhere else on the way or extend your travel into Austria, include Salzburg as well perhaps, of course we can do that too. Slightly similar holiday now, but again with a twist, a little bit different. We've got our Brenner Pass holiday, which includes Munich, Innsbruck and Verona, and again an extra fantastic destination of Verona at the end for 2 nights of this trip. It starts with a flight over to Munich and then heading down over the Brenner Pass for wonderful lakes and mountains on the way into Austria and to Innsbruck once again, before heading into Verona for 2 nights there before flying back to the UK. So this holiday also starts off in Munich. This is a shot here is a wonderful one, I think, of the Marienplatz right in the center of town. Again, really, really great architecture and so much history, so many walking tours, so many things that you can do. And also, actually, one thing I didn't mention when we talked about Munich before is one of my favorite parts of the town is the Englischer Garten, which is a large parkland area in the north of the city, perfect for walking around, strolling around with an ice cream, enjoying the sun, whatever it might be, and just a perfect contrast to the wonderful history and great buildings that you can see in the rest of the city. It's really well worth a stroll. Then, after taking the journey through those mountains, the likes of which you can see in these pictures, we're back to Innsbruck. Again, Innsbruck's hosted the Winter Olympics twice, I think, and you can really see why looking at the pictures here and these images. It's just a wonderful mountainside setting, really peaceful. It's not too large at all. It's perfect for exploring, and it's just a great, great destination, and really, really scenic too. Afterwards, we carry on over the Brenner Pass into Italy before terminating in Verona. Again, this is such a famous destination. I mean, when we think of Verona, we think of Two Gentlemen of Verona, Shakespeare, and also Romeo and Juliet, of course. If you fancy it, you can have your picture taken supposedly in the balcony that's famous from that Shakespeare play. And it's just so much great architecture, history. Again, for opera lovers, there's often operas taking place in spring and summer, so a perfect way of combining opera with a relaxing scenic rail journey as well, if that's something you're interested in. Again, it's a very walkable city. One of the things I really like about it is it's really easy to explore on foot. You don't really need public transport particularly or anything like that. Lots of great views as well, vantage points and churches where you can get some great pictures like that one on the right hand side where you've got the rooftops, the surrounding landscape and the river. It really is beautiful. And also, it's just a short train journey away from Venice as well. So if you wanted to tag on a few nights in Venice at the end of this holiday, really, really easy to do and really easy to combine. So what's included in this particular package? Again, we've got 6 nights hotel accommodation here with Munich, Innsbruck and Verona. We've got the rail travel in between all of those destinations. Again, some of the most scenic train journeys that you can do within Europe. And we've got flights to Munich and from Verona. Again, they could just as easily be traveled by rail, and you can break the journeys up with stopovers on the way to see maybe way or stop over in Cologne perhaps on the way out as well if you wanted to. The great thing about the flexibility of rail travel, as we mentioned before. So that's all of the rail journeys I wanted to talk about today. It's some of our most popular and top-selling rail journeys of the scenic variety. Of course, there's many more scenic options. We've got trips through the fjords in Norway and across Canada, but these are some of the most popular ones year on year, and we get great feedback from our customers who take them, and it's been a pleasure sharing them with you today.
Thank you very much, Matt. That was brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I think any one of those holidays really would be the perfect getaway for 2017. I'd just like to pick back up and just tell you a little bit more about Railbookers, where we go, as we said before, Europe. I know that Matt has just gone through 6 of our most popular European itineraries, but we've got over 300 different packages that you can choose from. We've got the USA, really great destination to discover by rail. I know both myself and Matt have done. You can do cross-country trips. You could just link cities. It's a great way to see scenery in the States that you just can't see from the highways, or definitely not when you're flying over it. And Canada as well, obviously a very famous destination for rail travel. Absolutely beautiful scenery. You've got big famous trains like the Rocky Mountaineer or the Canadian that will run all the way across from Toronto to Vancouver. A really, really great trip. You can book with us independent rail journeys, as we've said. We've got city breaks, luxury private train journeys, rail and sail if you want to add in a cruise, or themed holidays as well. Now, have a chat with you now just about some of our top destinations. You can see Scandinavia there. I know that Matt's spoken to us about a couple of our holidays in Italy, the USA and Canada, Switzerland, which you've heard a bit about today, and Spain. And a really, really great rail trip to do if you're looking for a bit of winter sun, or if you're thinking ahead to your 2017 summer holiday. Got the Venice Sample on Orient Express here. Let's see, really iconic shot there. Some nice cows, Simmental. I think they look like Simmental cows to me, Matt. Do you think?
That's a great question. I'm not a bovine expert, but I reckon that's what they probably are. Yes, I'd say so.
Great cows, great dining on board. Really, fine dining, luxury cuisine, sumptuous sleeping accommodations, impeccable service. This is probably the most iconic train in the world, and for good reason. It's the perfect holiday if you've got maybe an anniversary coming up, maybe a big birthday, or you just need to celebrate. The Venice Sample on Orient Express let you do that in style. We've got Essential Andalusia, an amazing holiday through the south of Spain. Got 2 nights in Granada, you can see there. Maybe stop by the Alhambra, the largest palace complex in the world. In Cordoba, 2 nights in Seville, one of my favorite cities. Lovely orange groves. The great opportunities to watch some flamenco. Try some flamenco if you're more adventurous than I was. And great sangria and tapas, lots of alfresco dining. Stays very warm for a lot of the year. Got the Scandinavian Grand Tour. This is a really popular holiday, increasingly popular as well. Lots of people loving to do this one. I did this trip last year. It was phenomenal. Those train journeys are brilliantly scenic. And you've actually got between Germany and Copenhagen one of Europe's last boat trains. So quite literally, your train boards a boat. You can get off, have a wander around, you know, look at the scenery as you cross the water. Really, really gorgeous. You've got a couple of nights in Copenhagen, move on to Gothenburg, Sweden's second city, oozing harbourside charm. Really, really lovely. Great dining opportunities, and you know, just a really real hidden gem, I think. Move on to Oslo, obviously famous Nobel Peace Centre. You've got the fjord, great place for boat trips. And finish off your holiday in Stockholm, famous Swedish capital, of course, where you can also go to the ABBA Museum if you're that way inclined. The Italian lakes by the Alps, you can do any of these individually by rail, and they're really easy to link as well. But Lake Como, Lake Garda, Lake Maggiore in the north of Italy, some really beautiful destinations. You do really scenic journey to get there, and obviously once you're there, the scenery is quite phenomenal. You'll have to let us know if you spot George Clooney at his villa in Lake Como. I haven't been that lucky yet. And the Polish Explorer. This is a really, really popular holiday, and it's a great one if you're a bit of a history buff, you like going off the beaten track. We've got flight into Warsaw, then you're going to explore Krakow, you're going to explore Gdansk, you're going to explore Poznan, you're going to explore Wrocław as well, which is hard to say, but very easy to get to by train. Some real scenic gems there, and just a good way to get off the beaten track and explore, you know, some places that are perhaps brand new to you. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really, really excited to pick a winner. We've had a great attendance today, but one of you, as I said, has to win the £50 holiday voucher. So the winner today, Matt, would you like to do a drum roll for me? Sue Todd, you have won a £50 voucher to use on your next rail holiday with us. We'll be in contact with you after the webinar and get everything sorted with that for you. And of course, everybody else will get £25 off their next rail holiday with us as well. It's £25 per person. Sue Todd, you can use this as well. You can combine the discount. You've just got to book by the 31st of October and quote to your travel consultant the promo code RB Railbookers Webinar OCT for October. Okay, brilliant. And how do you book? That's a great question. Call one of our travel consultants. That's the number there, 0203 327 0749. We're open not 8 days a week, we're not the Beatles, 6 days a week, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. at night, and then Saturday from 10 o'clock in the morning until 3:30. So plenty of time to book a rail holiday. And all that's left for me to say is thank you for joining us. We've had loads and loads of questions from you guys that we're really excited to answer. Let me find some and read them out. I'm sorry, we don't think we're going to have time to get through all of your questions, but we will be in contact with everybody who's asked something just to make sure that we've got the answers. Okay, so first question we've got from Giles. Which would you recommend? Matt, you've done both these journeys, you'll be able to answer this. Which would you recommend, the Glacier Express or the Bernina Express?
That's a great question, Giles. Thanks very much for joining us today as well. To be honest, they're very different. They really do contrast really well with each other. I wouldn't like to say which one is more scenic because they're quite different. There's perhaps more mountains landscapes on the Bernina Express. What I like about the Glacier Express is the changing landscape, like I spoke about before. Really, it really does give you lots and lots of different views, different scenery to take in. And I think the really nice thing as well is because Switzerland isn't a huge country, as hopefully you've seen today, it's really feasible to do the two journeys in one holiday. I would recommend doing both. Everybody will have their own different favourites. Yeah, I would say do both really, and then you'll probably have your own personal favourite after that. But I recommend both of them. They're really, really enjoyable.
Absolutely. Got another question. We've got a question from Gareth saying, what's the best time of year to undertake these tours?
Thanks, Gareth. Thanks for your question. I think the great thing about them is you can really do them all year round. If you go in the winter time, if you want to see some snow on the ground, snow on tops of the mountains, it's perfect for that winter wonderland feel, that scenic experience. That does add to it for lots and lots of people. Lots of people, when they think of Switzerland and Austria as well, they think of snow. But also, if you go in the summer, it really does, all the landscape and the scenery really does look different when you've got the sun shining over the meadows. It has a completely different feel to it, so there's no bad time to go. The Bernina Express, for example, that one runs all year round. The Glacier Express runs pretty much 11 months of the year, so you can pretty much go whenever you like, whenever fits in with you. I think it's special when there's a bit of snow on the mountains, and it's a nice journey to do in the winter, but it's just as good in summer, really. It's just a different feel to it.
You just have to do it twice, Gareth. You have to do it, and you tell us which is best, summer or winter.
I think actually, Gareth, you might have sent in another question actually asking about where the journey starts, the Glacier Express journey that we were talking about before. It actually starts in Brig on the first package that we saw there, and the second one goes all the way through to Saint Moritz. The first one was finishing in Kur. But if you combine the Glacier and the Bernina Express together, the Bernina Express actually covers the end of the Glacier Express route, so in fact you're not missing out on anything, and that's the part that's got the famous Landwasser viaduct in. So yeah, that's included on both of those packages that we looked at earlier.
Brilliant. And I think we've got time for one more question. Oh, we've got a good one from Frank, who's asking, when can these guys book these holidays, Matt?
Frank, that's a great question. You can book them as far ahead as 2017, in fact into early 2018 as well. I really do recommend with these trips that advanced booking is the way to go. They are very, very popular. In fact, with some of these journeys at certain times of the year, the Glacier and Bernina Express, for example, there's sometimes only one train departure a day, so they can book up and quite far in advance. It's a good idea to get the best availability, the best prices, and to book as far ahead as you can to secure the best availability and make sure that you're able to travel when you want to, really, and enjoy it all knowing that everything is locked in and everything is confirmed. As Sarah mentioned before, it's really easy to do that. You can obviously see the packages on our website and then give us a call, and the team are happy to talk through them with you.
Brilliant. Well, all that's left for us to say is thank you so much for joining us. We've really enjoyed doing this webinar and chatting about some of our favourite packages, and we hope that all of you will be in touch soon, and I know that our guys in the Travel Centre cannot wait to start speaking to you about your holidays for next year. So thank you very much, and all that's left to say is goodbye. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Goodbye.